Do you have a room in your house that needs a little freshening up, but there's just not a lot of extra money in the budget right now? Hello friends, thank you so much for coming to visit me today. I'm Tish with Tish Loves Home. So every year towards the end of the year, one thing that I always like to do is to kind of look around my house and think of some things that I would really like to do to kind of freshen it up for the new year. Usually these are not big projects. Most of them are things that I could, pretty easily do in a day or two. But I also know myself that if I don't really get started with this in January or February, they probably won't happen. So I like to pick one and get going with it right away. So this year, my first little project that I wanted to do something about was our bedroom. It's a nice big space and we like the size of it, but we've had the same furniture for about 20 years. It's really good furniture, sturdy, solid wood, but it just does not really match the style of the rest of my house. And every time I would come in here and look at it, I would just think, I'm just kind of wanting something different in here. I want to do something else. I have done rearranging over the years. I've got new bedding over the years, and still just not quite what I want it to be. So for a long time, I've been wanting to paint it. But I knew that once I started that project that it was going to take me a while. It would be pretty time consuming, and it's one of those things, once you start, you got to commit. You got to keep going. So I've kind of put that off. But this year I decided this is the year I'm going to paint this furniture. So this is my first painting project for my bedroom refresh for the year. And I know a lot of you are probably thinking, oh gosh, don't paint that wood. Well, sorry, I'm going to paint the wood. I really love old pieces, but I think sometimes it just gives them new life when you do a fresh coat of paint on it. And plus, my house really doesn't have a lot of dark furniture, so I think it will match better when I paint it. This was actually Trent's Granny Heels. We've had it for a good, probably 12, 15 years. I'm going to chalk paint it, so I'm not doing a lot of sanding. And then in this part, I have some wallpaper peel and stick that I'm going to put in the back just to give it a little extra pretty visual effect. And the bottom, I've never even noticed this bottom until I brought it out here. It kind of has like that pretty little scalloped edge, and I think once I do the paint on it, that's going to show up even more. So we'll see how it all turns out, but I am so excited to get started on this. So here's what the nightstands look like. They're kind of banged up, scratched up. I did change these knobs years ago. They're not really going to match with what I'm doing next, so I'm going to put some new knobs on those as well. You can see over here on this one, we did have glass made to go on top of it, a mirror. Probably going to keep that just because I think it'll protect the chalk paint a little bit. So I'm getting everything out of these, and I'm going to get ready to prep, and I'm painting inside because it's cold. Okay, I've just finished the second coat. And it's not dry, but it definitely is going to have a third coat. It's really not that difficult to paint. It took me the longest taking the knobs off, but when you finish with chalk paint, you do have to put the wax sealant on it. So I know I'm not doing that today. I'm going to let this dry really good overnight after I put one more coat on, and then I'll do the sealant later on this week. They're a little bit bigger. I just thought it might conserve paint a little bit better not to do spray paint. And I like to use these little sponge brushes for, in all those little crevices and stuff on pieces like this. I just soak it in really well. So it's a mess in here again today because I'm still painting. Today I'm going to start working on this piece. I'm going to paint it white too. I know it is a pretty wood, but I've had it for almost 30 years like this, so I'm really ready for a change. Put another coat on the front of these this morning because in the sunlight, I just felt like they needed one more coat. I went ahead and used some of my little drawer organizers and redid Trent's top drawer. He needed some help in that area. So I'm about to get going here with this, and then this piece, I have another pretty color I'm going to paint it. So I decided I'm going to use the chalk spray paint for the first couple of coats on these drawers because it's dark and, you know, putting the light over it's taken a while to do that. So I took the knobs off because I've got new knobs that I'm going to replace these with to kind of match the bed I got. And I did a quick little sand on them, even though you're not supposed to have to do that with chalk paint. I just feel a little bit better if I do a little bit. Cleaned them off good. So getting ready for the first coat. And I've got Hampton out here with me. He's been digging holes, so, you know, a little bit of a distraction, but we're going to get it done. So here is the finished room after I got everything painted. I got a few new things, did a little bit of rearranging, and I'm really so happy with it. It just looks so much brighter in here, and it really makes the room look bigger after we took the sleigh bed out. So I'm just going to share with you just a few little things around the room. Of course, my new headboard. This was like the big purchase that I made. I mean, it wasn't too bad because it's just a headboard. I ended up ordering this from Home Depot. It is sold in other places, but I did put that on the last video so you can see what it looks like and the company that makes it. When it came, it did not have a footboard with it, and the box showed that. That was okay, because I really didn't want a footboard. I wanted to leave this open down here and so that Hampton could just jump up on the ottoman there and hop right in the bed. But it also did not come with the bed rails. So we had to order bed rails. Well, then when we got the bed rails, it didn't come with any bolts to attach them to the headboard. So after 3 different attempts, and this is just how life always is for us, we finally were able to get it all up and put together, thank goodness. I did order a new comforter, and I have it pulled out so you can see it's oversized because I've always had a hard time finding one long enough to come down on each side. This is from Amazon. It washes really well. I threw it in my washing machine yesterday and just threw it right in the dryer, no problems. Easy wash, and it looks really good after you wash it. I bought a few new pillows. The scallop pillows came from Ross. Those were, I think, $20 for 2 of them. My little bunny pillow, of course, that's seasonal for Easter. We had a client that gave me the pillow shams. You know, I just like a little mixture. And then the other little pillows, those were just from Walmart. And I probably will play with those some, but for right now, that's fine. And then we already had this at the bottom. I try to have an area where you know, we had a dog before, and of course we have Hampton now that he can have a little place. Not that he stays there, because he really does not. So that is the bed, and my ottoman down here, I already had this. This was Amazon. I store like holiday clothes in here that, you know, I just wear at certain times of the year. And then I also have my TBR, as Caroline calls it, my To Be Read books. And I've always got books to read, so that's a good spot for them. One of the things I did, I'm always flip-flopping stuff in my house, and I think that's the fun of it. Shop your own house. This mirror originally was not white. It was kind of a browny gold color, and it was above the other bed that we have, and it was facing horizontal. Well, when we took down the mirror that was above this dresser, I replaced it with that one, and I had it facing horizontal. Well, since I'm trying to, you know, just kind of do some things different, I moved it over to this wall and turned it vertical and added that reef, and it just made such a huge difference. I love it over there. I had a kind of an older basket down here, so I did replace it with this little ottoman, and it has storage, more books in there, and my heating pad, because I found out that I really need that more these days. That came from Ross. It's about $60. I already had my little scallop baskets, which I love. My curtains came from Amazon, and those are not new. I already had those. They are 108 inches long because I wanted them to go all the way to the ceiling. And then it's got the little wooden buttons on it. So everything else kind of was stemmed from these. I kind of wanted to make everything else in the room fit the style of these curtains. It has a very coastal kind of cottage look to it, and I just know myself, that's my favorite. I like a lot of things, but that is my favorite. These lamps by Trent's little machine over there. Came from TJ Maxx. I've had them for several years. Love them. I think they were about 50 a piece. When I painted these, I also replaced the knobs, and those knobs also came from Amazon. Another little scallop basket. And then this is the piece that was Trent's grandmother's that I painted, and I also added the wallpaper in the back. Wallpaper came from Walmart, and so did this paint. I did a spray paint on it. And then I pretty much, from that point on, I just rearranged my shelves a little bit, tried to change them up. I do want to change my blinds to bamboo blinds. That's one thing we haven't got done yet, but that's next on my list. This chair was my mom's. It was already in here. This was already in here. I just painted it. This little footstool was being thrown away at a thrift store that I was at, and it already had that cushion. So, of course, I had to get it. I washed the cushion. Works great for a little footstool there. I already had this rug. It was in the den. Moved it in here. And I do that a lot. Just shopping my house, moving things from one space to the next. And then this is, of course, the dresser, and I did paint it and add these knobs. This print was my grandmother's. I remember it in her den. My aunt had it framed, and then she gave it to me several years ago. And I really love it over here. I think it kind of picks up on the color of the knobs, and it also has all the colors in the room. And then I bought this lamp at Ross. I think it was $20. And then these are two of my favorite, well, my little favorite bookends. I got these at the Humane Shelter thrift store in our area, and I just love them. Love them, love them, love them. So I thought they were great right there, and I've had those for a long time too. That was not a new purchase. And then my last thing was this cabinet. I could not get settled with the color of it. I don't like things to be too matchy-matchy, and I felt like it was matching that bookshelf a little too much. So I decided that I was just going to kind of antique it and rough it up a little. I don't know how much of that you can really see, but these things were already up here, and this was a painting that my oldest daughter had done, and I thought the brown in the trees in that would really look good with a little bit of this brown showing on the cabinet. So I just went ahead and kind of roughed it up a little bit just to give it a little bit different feel. So I'm sure there's other things in here that I could talk about, but I think that's the majority of it, and really very much on a budget. I did not spend a lot of money. I used so much of what I already had. Painting does take time. Painting furniture is time consuming. And of course, you know, the paint's not cheap, but it's still so much less expensive than buying new furniture. So get creative. Think about what you already have. Where could you move it to make it look a little bit different? Could you paint it? Could you add some wallpaper? You just never know. It'll give a whole new look on your room.